Oh, what a hectic day, Chelsea murmured to herself with a tired look on her face while massaging the nape of her head. Meet Chelsea Powers, a final-year master's student at the University of Wolverton studying public relations. She just turned 24 and already preparing for her dissertation, which has been keeping her so busy. Hey, Miss Bookhead, if you don't slow down, I might just call this table my best friend, Rachel spoke with a fake angry tone. Rachel Hannigan is Chelsea's best friend and the heiress to the Hannigan global empire. They have been best friends since their undergraduate years. Rachel is kind and compassionate, irrespective of her wealthy background. She loves Chelsea like a sister. Come on, Ratch, you know studying is the only thing I am good at. Besides, I am not from a wealthy household. If I don't study this hard, how will I be able to keep my scholarship? By the way, this is my dissertation. If I don't do well, I might not graduate as the valedictorian. You know I need this in order to get a good internship opportunity. Anyway, let me buy you lunch and make it up to you, Chelsea said with a wink. Rachel, who was leaning on one of the shelves in the library, smiled and said, You sure know food is my happy place, and it will definitely turn my gloomy mood into a happy one. And let me remind you that learning is not the only thing you are good at. You have the kindest and purest heart and have got an amazing voice too. Your ability to understand and compromise with those you care about is your biggest asset that I admire. Chelsea looked at Rachel with tears forming in her eyes. You always know the right words to say, and that melts my heart. Rachel, with a big grin on her face, said, Enough with the poetic moment. Let's go feed these hungry demons in my stomach before they start going haywire. They both laughed while parking their stuff and headed to the school canteen. After getting their food, they sat by the window facing the school lawn. Baby girl, how are things between you and Ken? I haven't seen him around in 4 weeks. Did you guys fight or something? Rachel asked. Ken Roberts is Chelsea's boyfriend and heir of Roberts Corporations, which is one of the biggest and most influential companies in Wolverton. No, we aren't fighting, Chelsea replied. He has been so busy lately. He traveled to Singapore on a business trip and has been there for 3 weeks. I just miss him so much. When is he coming back? Rachel asked while sipping her orange juice. The last time we spoke, he said he would be back in a week's time, Chelsea replied. The last time you spoke, Rachel repeated with a confused look on her face. She dropped her spoon onto her plate, lacing her fingers under her chin and looking into Chelsea's face. She asked, If I may ask, when was the last time you spoke with him? Chelsea's face turned a little gloomy and she replied with a sigh, It's been 6 days. I have sent him so many messages and left him so many missed calls, but he hasn't replied to any of them. I just hope he is doing okay. Rachel's eyes were wide with a shock on her face. 6 days? She asked angrily while wiping her mouth with a paper towel. Have you gone on social media recently? Chelsea raised her head and looked at Rachel with her mouth full of food. Social media? She exclaimed. Babe, you know I am not the social media type of person. Aside from my email address, the only social media site I go to is Google for research or LinkedIn for networking. Rachel placed her right palm on her forehead and said, This girl will be the death of me. I think I am about to have a migraine. Chelsea jokingly pouted and said, If you have a migraine, who else will I torment with my silly acts? Rachel scoffed and said, After this conversation, I will download Instagram on your phone, or else one day you will wake up and discover everyone has left this planet and you will be left behind. But before we do that, let me show you something. Rachel dipped her hand into her denim pocket and took out her phone. She scrolled down on her Instagram feed and showed Chelsea a video of Ken standing with a beautiful tall blonde girl. Ken was wearing a black tuxedo, which accentuated his 6 feet tall figure and broad shoulders. His hair was neatly styled in a quiff, bringing out the firm nature of his face, and his brown eyes were so mesmerizing. He looked really hot and breathtaking. When Chelsea saw him, her heart skipped and she started having dirty thoughts about him without the tuxedo on. The lady beside him was wearing a long black mock neck, split-back sequin bodycon dress which brought out her curves and slender figure. She was truly beautiful. Chelsea stared at the picture, looking lost in her thoughts. Rachel clapped her hands to Chelsea's face and said, "Come back to earth, madam." Chelsea shook and smiled awkwardly, muttering the words, "Sorry." After she had regained herself, she quickly asked, "What is the meaning of this, and who is this lady with Ken?" Rachel looked at her with furrowed brows. She said, "Are you for real? Aside from me and your classmates, who else do you know?" Chelsea smiled awkwardly and said, "Should I know her?" Rachel tapped the tip of Chelsea's nose with her index finger and said, "Sis, this is Helena Richards, daughter of the CEO of Starline Conglomerate. She has a dirty attitude and is the most snobbish person I know." Chelsea raised her eyebrows and said, "What is she doing with Ken, and when was this taken?" Rachel replied with a playful gaze. According to her Instagram post, it shows the picture was taken yesterday at the Paris Fashion Week show. The caption on the video says, "Bonding with family." When Chelsea heard this, she started sweating on her forehead and said, "This could probably be a misunderstanding. I am sure Ken has a good explanation for this." Rachel looked at her with pitiful eyes and said, "I'm sure they are just family friends. So don't worry so much." While they were talking, Philippa Clark, the school belle, and her two minions, Emma and Kate, approached their table. "Well, if it isn't the social climber Chelsea Powers trying to leech off of others, who else will it be?" Philippa snorted. Rachel rolled her eyes and said, "If it isn't the weasel and her two minions, who else would it be?" Philippa stomped her feet on the ground and shouted at Rachel angrily. "Who the hell are you calling a weasel?" Rachel smirked and replied, "The next time you call Chelsea a social climber, I will make sure I slap that ugly face of yours and reset your brain to factory setting." Philippa was stunned with her mouth wide open and her hand on her chest. Chelsea held Rachel's hand and said, "Rach, please let's just leave already. I have lost my appetite." Philippa glared at Chelsea with eyes beaming with anger. She walked closer to Chelsea and snatched her elbow and said, "All you know is to leech on rich people, but I will promise you this, I'll make sure you are exposed." Chelsea winced in pain as Philippa's nails were digging into her skin. Chelsea ripped her hand free from Philippa's grasp, her voice steady but filled with frustration. "Philippa, I don't care what you think or say about me. Just leave me the hell alone." With that, she turned and walked away, her friend Rachel alongside her. As they exited the canteen, Philippa's face twisted into a malicious grin. "Chelsea, mark my words, you will regret ever coming to this university." Philippa was the only daughter of the Vice-Chancellor of Wolverton University, a status that afforded her a kind of power and prestige that most students envied. Considered the belle of the university, boys flocked to her, while many girls did everything they could to stay in her good graces. She liked to call herself the Queen Bee, expecting everyone to cater to her whims. One might wonder why Philippa harbored such a grudge against Chelsea, willing to do almost anything to see her fail. To understand this rivalry, we must travel back to their first year at university. Chelsea arrived 2 weeks late, a newcomer in a sea of faces. During her very first class, the lecturer introduced her with pride, declaring her the winner of the Franca Gilmore Award, a scholarship designed for the upper echelon, meant for the wealthiest and brightest students. The murmurs among the students grew as they realized the significance of her achievement, one that marked her as exceptionally intelligent. Chelsea's cheeks flushed crimson. She was shy and had never wanted the spotlight. "Enough with the introductions. Who can tell me the answer to the question I posted?" the lecturer prompted. Silence enveloped the room until Philippa raised her hand, confidently interjecting. The lecturer nodded but clarified that Philippa's answer was somewhat off the mark. She had missed the main point completely. Then, from the back of the classroom, a boy shouted, "Since we have Miss Smart here, why doesn't she answer?" Suddenly, Chelsea felt an icy wave wash over her palms sweaty and her heart racing. "Oh God, what if I can't answer and embarrass myself?" she thought, panic rising within her. Steeling herself, Chelsea asked the lecturer to repeat the question. With a deep breath, she shared her answer, and to her surprise, the lecturer's face lit up with delight. Excellent, Chelsea. You answered even better than I had expected. Sitting nearby, Philippa furrowed her brows, casting a scornful glance at Chelsea. After class, Philippa cornered Chelsea alongside her friends Emma and Kate in the school canteen. Philippa's voice dripped with venom as she warned, "Listen, you little nitwit. I don't care where you come from, but make sure you don't step on my toes. Or else you'll regret it." Chelsea stood in stunned silence, her mind racing with confusion and fear. Suddenly, Rachel tapped her on the shoulder. Turning to face her, Chelsea saw a friendly smile. "Hi, I'm Rachel Hannigan. Are you okay?" "Yes, I'm fine," Chelsea said shyly, grateful for Rachel's kindness. They began to bond over shared classes, forming a friendship that helped Chelsea navigate her daunting new world. To complicate matters further, Samuel Melando, the handsome captain of the basketball team, had taken an interest in Chelsea. Despite his charm and popularity, Chelsea was uninterested, unaware that he was Philippa's secret crush. When Philippa discovered Samuel's feelings for Chelsea, she felt betrayed and furious. With her minions, she approached Chelsea, delivering a stark warning to stay away from him. "I'm not interested in Samuel," Chelsea replied firmly. "If you want him, you can have him." The following day, Samuel approached Chelsea at the campus, asking if she would go to the basketball game with him. "No, thank you. I think you should stay away from me," she replied, concerned about the potential backlash from Philippa. Though Chelsea declined, she agreed to attend the game with Rachel instead. As the match unfolded and Wolverton University triumphed, Samuel stood at the center court, shedding his jersey and donning a white t-shirt emblazoned with the words, "Chelsea, please be my girlfriend." Philippa, who had been dancing with other cheerleaders in celebration, witnessed the scene and felt rage boiling within her. From that moment on, she vowed that Chelsea would be her mortal enemy. Back in the present, after Chelsea and Rachel left the canteen, the two friends parted ways and Chelsea stood at the bus stop, contemplating her day ahead. She wondered how she would make it through another evening with her brother's wife, Melinda. Melinda was the very definition of wickedness. If Philippa was the queen bee, then Melinda was her equally conniving counterpart. As Chelsea was lost in thought, her phone buzzed. Glancing at the caller ID, she saw it was Melinda. She sighed, pinching the bridge of her nose before answering. "Hello, Melinda," she said, bracing herself for confrontation. A loud voice erupted from the other end. "Where are you and why aren't you home yet?" Startled, Chelsea replied. "I just finished my last class of the day and I'm on my way to work." "I expect you to cancel those ridiculous work plans and get home. I have a spa date with my friends and you need to babysit Fiona," Melinda said with condescension. Fiona was Chelsea's precious niece, and while she adored the little girl, it grated on her that she was always expected to drop everything for Melinda. "What happened to the nanny?" "I don't owe you an explanation. Just make sure you're here in 30 minutes, Melinda snapped before abruptly hanging up. Chelsea gazed at her darkened phone screen, feeling speechless. She pressed her lips together, forcing back tears as frustration swelled within her. Taking a steadying breath, she dialed her manager's number, the call connecting after 2 rings. "Hello, Chelsea," a soft voice on the other end greeted her. "Hello, Claire," Chelsea replied, trying to mask her distress. "Are you okay?" "You sound down," Claire asked, concern evident in her voice. Chelsea fidgeted with the hem of her shirt, feeling nervous. "Claire, can I please call in today? There's an emergency at home and I really need to be there. I won't be able to make it to work." "Of course, dear. It's okay to handle an emergency," Claire assured her. "I'll arrange for someone to cover your shift, so don't worry." A rush of relief washed over Chelsea, dispelling some of the tension in her chest. "Thank you so much, Claire. I'll make sure to do a full shift tomorrow to make up for today." "Sounds great. Take care, Chelsea," Claire responded warmly before ending the call. When Chelsea arrived home, Melinda immediately thrust Fiona into her arms, ordering, "Make sure Fiona is well fed and change her diapers on time." Without a moment's pause, Melinda rushed off, leaving Chelsea feeling abandoned. Looking down at Fiona, who smiled brightly at her, Chelsea's heart melted. "Hey, little nugget. I missed you so much today," she said cheerfully. "Let's grab your favorite doll and have some fun at the ball pit." Little Fiona giggled, nuzzling her head against Chelsea's neck and shoulder. Together, they made their way to the nursery, ready to create their own world of joy and imagination, one filled with laughter and love, a small oasis of happiness amidst the chaos of their lives. As they played, Chelsea held on to this moment tightly, reminding herself that while battles were fought daily, her love for Fiona and the bond they shared brought her solace. With each giggle and diaper change, she quietly vowed to rise above the challenges brought by Philippa, Melinda, and anyone else who dared to stand in the way of her happiness. The next day, Chelsea woke up feeling a bit tired from playing and nursing Fiona all night. She glanced at the clock and remembered she had an 8-hour shift at Cedar House. A soft smile crept across her face at the thought of the residents because she genuinely loved them, and they adored her right back. Dragging herself into the bathroom, she took a quick shower to shake off the fatigue. After her shower, she put on a navy blue short-sleeve shirt emblazoned with Cedar Assisted Living across the pocket. Paired with black trousers and comfortable black flats, she completed her look by pinning her long, curly hair into a bun. Looking in the mirror, she admired herself, saying, "Chelsea, you look great and you've got a killer body. Today is going to be a good day." Rushing into the kitchen, Chelsea prepared a quick breakfast. Just as she was about to sit down, her older brother, Lionel, returned from his night shift. "Hey, Lenny, you're back," Chelsea exclaimed, standing to give him a warm hug. Lionel smiled and ruffled her hair affectionately. "Look at my baby sister, all grown up and taking care of me. What a treat. Come on, bro, don't be so dramatic. It's just an ordinary breakfast. Wait until I start taking you on adventures to the Caribbean," Chelsea teased, lightly punching him in the arm. Lionel laughed. "Until then, I can see you're heading to work instead of school. Just make sure you finish your breakfast and don't be late, okay?" Chelsea nodded, watching him walk toward the stairs as he waved goodbye. Quickly finishing her meal, she picked up her tote bag and left for the bus stop, which was only a short 2-minute walk from their house. Once she arrived at the bus stop, she decided to call her boyfriend Ken one more time. As she dialed his number, anticipation danced in her heart. On the second ring, a husky voice came through. "Hello, love." Chelsea's face brightened as a smile spread from ear to ear. "Hey, baby. Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine," Ken replied, yawning softly. Unable to contain her excitement, Chelsea bombarded him with questions. "What happened? Where have you been? What about your phone?" Ken chuckled. "My little firecracker, slow down. I just got in this morning. I'll pick you up later so we can have dinner and I'll fill you in on everything that happened." Chelsea beamed. "Okay. I missed you, baby." I missed you too," Ken replied in a seductive tone. Chelsea felt her cheeks flush with warmth. She closed her eyes, placed her free hand on her face, and murmured, "I missed you too." After a few more minutes of sweet conversation, they said their goodbyes, and Chelsea giggled to herself. Today will definitely be a good day, she thought. The bus ride took about 20 minutes, and Chelsea arrived at Cedar House right on time at 8 o'clock. As she entered the lobby, Claire rushed over and enveloped her in a warm hug. "Oh dear Chelsea, your coming in today has really added 10 more years to my lifespan," Claire exclaimed. "We've been really short-staffed. Erica and Jasmine called in sick." Chelsea couldn't help but laugh. "Come on, Claire, it's not that bad. Whatever the case may be, we'll work together as a team to get everything done today, all right?" Claire looked at her with admiration and led her into the lounge, where the residents were gathered. "Hey everyone," she announced cheerfully. "Your favorite Miss Nightingale is here." As the residents spotted Chelsea, they all smiled and welcomed her with warm greetings. Janet, a sophisticated lady in her 80s with a sweet demeanor, spoke up softly. "Hey, Miss Nightingale, it's been a while since we heard you sing." I don't know about the others, but I've missed your sweet voice. Chelsea felt a blush creep to her cheeks. Hey, Janet. I promise I'll sing for you. After I finish my morning tasks, I'll join you all in the lounge. An excited murmur filled the room. Many of the residents adored her singing, but few knew just how talented she was. Her father had played the guitar beautifully and taught her how to play both guitar and piano. With years of practice and some voice lessons, she had trained her voice, but she was reluctant to sing in front of crowds. For some reason, singing only in front of the residents felt right. If it made them happy and less lonely, that was enough for her. The morning shifted into afternoon, and Chelsea diligently completed her tasks. By the time it was 4:30 p.m., she was preparing to clock out for the day. Just then, Claire walked up and placed a hand on Chelsea's shoulder. Thank you so much for all your hard work today. The residents were truly happy, especially with your singing, Claire said warmly. Chelsea smiled, placing her hand atop Claire's. Oh, come on, Claire. I was just doing my job, and I'm happy that they're happy. You don't have to thank me. Claire looked at her with admiration again and then asked, How about joining me for dinner tonight? Sorry, Claire, but I'll have to pass. I have dinner plans with my boyfriend today. He should be here any moment to pick me up, Chelsea replied. Claire's face lit up mischievously. Have lots of fun then, she said, winking playfully. As Claire left, Chelsea felt her phone vibrating in her pocket. The caller ID read Ken. Chelsea smiled brightly and answered, Hey Ken, are you here already? Hey love, I'm sorry, but there's been a change in plans. Can you come over to my place so we can make dinner together? Ken asked. Chelsea's heart soared with excitement and she quickly agreed, hanging up the phone. Although she was tired from work, the thought of spending time cooking with Ken made her energy levels spike. She decided to take a taxi rather than the bus because time was of the essence. Ken's villa was located in the Northern Ridges, a prestigious neighborhood known for its opulence. The area was characterized by well-lit streets lined with Italian cypress trees that adorned the long driveways. Each front porch showcased an array of flowers and meticulously trimmed bushes that transformed the neighborhood into a living painting. As the taxi pulled up to Ken's front porch, Chelsea handed the driver a 20-pound note and stepped out, taking a deep breath as she approached the door. Just as she was about to ring the doorbell, it opened, revealing Ken standing there in a white t-shirt and gray shorts. Seemed like he had been waiting for her. With open arms, Ken welcomed her into his embrace. Chelsea rushed into him, wrapping her arms around his waist, relishing the familiar warmth. Ken pulled her close, allowing her to bury her face in his chest. I have missed you, baby, he whispered softly. Chelsea felt tears welling in her eyes. It feels like forever, Ken, she murmured. I know, baby, he replied, gently lifting her chin with his index finger. Why are you crying? I haven't seen you in 3 weeks, and I haven't spoken to you in 1 week. How could I not cry? Chelsea said, half snorting through her embarrassment. Ken smiled, bending down to kiss her with a fire that ignited her heart. Chelsea felt a rush of chills racing down her spine, and when they finally parted, she was left breathless. I figured you were tired, so I had George prepare dinner for us, he said. George was Ken's cook who often came over to help him when he had guests. Ken took her hand, leading her to the dining hall. Chelsea excused herself to the bathroom to remove her work uniform and wash her hands. After a few moments, she returned wearing one of Ken's t-shirts and a pair of his shorts. When Ken saw her, he grinned and winked, saying, That's my baby. They sat down to eat, and Chelsea could hardly contain her curiosity any longer. So, can you finally tell me what happened? Ken looked up from his plate, a forkful of spaghetti hovering just above the table. Baby, don't rush. Let's finish dinner and then I'll tell you everything. Chelsea nodded, suppressing her impatience as they enjoyed the meal together. But halfway through their dinner, Ken's phone rang. He furrowed his brows, cleared his throat, and glanced away while his face grew serious. Is everything okay? Chelsea asked, her concern growing. "Excuse me, but I have to take this call," Ken said, quickly moving to his office. With the relatively short distance between the dining hall and his office, Chelsea couldn't help but eavesdrop a little. She picked up snippets, including, "No, you don't have to come. I'll be on my way." Ken rushed back into the dining area, a look of urgency on his face. "Baby, something has come up and my attention is needed. I'll be back in 30 minutes, okay?" Still cloaked in confusion, Chelsea watched as he raced upstairs, changing into blue denim trousers, a fresh white t-shirt, and a black leather jacket before dashing out the door. He didn't say another word. Chelsea sat there stunned, her heart pounding as she processed what had just happened. She could only watch him shut the door behind him, questions swirling in her mind. Who was it that called Ken? Why was he in such a hurry to leave her?